Tonight on The Big Story, the Philippines has gained upper middle income status. But the question is, what benefits does this ranking bring to ordinary Filipinos?
After nearly 4 decades as a lower middle income country since 1987, this milestone affirms that the economic policies that we have pursued over the past 4 years have been effective. This is worth celebrating because economic progress is not meant to stay on paper. It is meant to open doors, put food on the table, and give every Filipino the chance to build a better life.
The Iglesia ni Cristo takes the third day of its rally to Manila in defense and in support of Senator Rodante Marcoleta. Still, the Ombudsman is not budging. It's filing a plunder case against the lawmaker sooner than later. The Office of the Ombudsman is also preparing a case against former Speaker Martin Romualdez over the flood control scandal, and it depends on the testimonies of ex-bodyguards of fugitive Zaldi Co. Good evening, I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon. We begin tonight with the World Bank granting the Philippines an economic milestone. After nearly 4 decades, the Philippines is now an upper middle income country. Why is this important and how did we manage to achieve this? Mobile journalist Daniel Daya with tonight's Big Story.
The World Bank says the Philippines has moved up to the upper middle income country category. What does this mean? In a nutshell, average earnings of people here now falls under a higher category. Or does it? Well, on paper, it is. And it's a sign that our economy has grown. According to World Bank data, the country's gross national income or GNI per capita reached or about 300,000 pesos. GNI per capita refers to the average income of each person in the country. Included in the calculation here are the earnings of businesses, the wages of workers, and even the money sent by OFWs to their families. The recent World Bank ranking places the Philippines above the GNI per capita threshold. So, how did we achieve this milestone? According to the Department of Economy, Planning and Development or DepDev, it was collectively due to economic growth, good governance, and long-term reforms. And almost 4 decades worth as the Philippines had been in the lower middle income category since 1987, or a year after the People Power Revolution. That is why President Bongbong Marcos is hailing this turning point.
After nearly 4 decades as a lower middle income country since 1987, this milestone affirms that the economic policies that we have pursued over the past 4 years have been effective. Our steady economic growth, broadly stable currency, and long-term reforms have strengthened our economy even amid global uncertainties. It validates the progress that we have made and the resilience of the Filipino people. It is also a vote of confidence in our country's future. Greater confidence means more investments. More investments means more businesses, better quality jobs, and more opportunities for Filipino families. This is worth celebrating because economic progress is not meant to stay on paper. It is meant to open doors, put food on the table, and give every Filipino the chance to build a better life. That is the work that we will continue to do until every family feels the benefit of our country's progress.
Mr. Marcos is right. Investors are likely to view the Philippines more favorably. This could lead to more investments and more businesses choosing to operate here. And when that happens, more jobs and better wages should follow. But as Mr. Marcos said, this economic progress is basically a report card. The reality is, there are still many Filipinos who are not middle class, or worse, living below the poverty line. On the One News program Money Talks, former Bangko Sentral Deputy Governor Diwa Ginigundo clarified that the World Bank based the ranking only on the country's average income.
It does not mean that poverty has disappeared. It does not mean that inflation has been kept within the target range of 2 to 4%, that inequality has been solved, and that the average Filipinos have suddenly become significantly wealthier.
The challenge now for the middle income status and translate this to long-term benefits for more Filipinos. The World Bank's Division Director for the Philippines, Malaysia and Brunei also took note of this challenge.
This is a major achievement, yet it's not the finish line. It's a launch pad. The next phase of development will depend on faster productivity, stronger innovation, and better quality jobs, reaching all regions and communities.
Kapatid Mobile Journal Daniel Dayaw, we are One News.
And we are fortunate because here to explain further this economic milestone for the Philippines is Department of Economy, Planning and Development Secretary Arsenio Balisacan. Good evening, Secretary Sec RC.
Good evening, Ces.
Thank you for coming on to the Big Story. So level up na tayo, but there are pitfalls. It's double-edged. But first, let's go to the good news. The good news part. What does it mean for the country?
Well, achieving a upper middle income class status means that we have progressed on a sustained basis over the years. So we have managed to keep growth sustained over a long time. Remember that the last time when we entered the lower middle income country, it was in 1987, and it took 39 years for us to go to the next level. And that is a
Well, Vietnam beat us to it.
Vietnam, admittedly, has been growing much faster than us and has been attracting many good more players and investors than us. But I think that we have the potential to grow faster than what we actually had over the last couple of, the last 10 years or so.
We missed this by just $20 last year.
Yes.
So now we finally made it.
Yeah, it's...
Pero ano po ba, kung pwedeng taglish tayo, ano po bang kahulugan nito sa ordinaryong Pilipino? Maybe dadaan lang po yan sa kanilang, hindi nila madadama ito.
Isang numero lang ito, Ces, no?
Opo.
The average na sinasabi natin, no? And what any country has done to reduce poverty, say, or to eliminate poverty, is to sustain a growth. Growth is necessary for any poverty reduction, but it's not sufficient, no?
Okay.
Will
this attract more investments into the country because we already achieved this status?
Yes,
What does it mean?
It does send a signal to the investment community, investing community, that we're a country that is able and can sustain growth, and that's what investors are looking at. Countries that are able to generate markets for their products, and that's what this sustained
There's
growth.
more purchasing power.
There's more purchasing power, and of course our objective is not only to grow rapidly, but to also make sure that growth is tawag nating inclusive, that it's accompanied by growth in high quality jobs, so that the middle class will grow.
Yeah.
And
Okay. The World Bank says that the growth happened on a wider scale economy-wise rather than contributed by a single sector. Can you talk more about where the growth came?
Well, it comes, as the World Bank said, from broad sources. Typically, we look at consumption as one of such sources, and that's the bigger part of the economy. Then investment and exports.
And OFWs.
Well, OFWs, yes, that contributes to the consumption, and indeed, it's a significant part of the growth, particularly in that gross national income per capita, which is the metric used in this classification.
If OFWs are credited, though, they face many threats. For instance, where they are concentrated in the Middle East, the situation is unpredictable.
Yeah.
So how do we intend to, compensate? And another big contributor, I suppose, are BPO workers, which according to World Bank statistics, we are rather slow in adapting to an index that they use, no? We are slow to adapting to AI. So how do we address these things?
Development objective is to ensure that our economy is able to generate high quality jobs, and so that migration will be just an option and not a forced circumstance. So
When will that come?
That's the whole effort that these 4 years of the Marcos administration, and even also long before that, to push
To
for
keep them here, to keep them here.
to get investment coming here, and also to even just for our local investors, our local businesses, to aggressively invest in the country, but also to open up the country for investment. It's only then that you can generate that high quality jobs. So that's the job. We have to sustain the flow of investment in the country, making sure that we are putting in place an investment-friendly policies and regulations.
But foreign direct investments have slowed down in the last years
It's slowed
because
down.
of corruption issues.
Well, just to be sure, it's slowed down in all places except for in a few countries that were able to get this attract investments from the leveraging of investors from countries like China, and they go to countries like Vietnam. But otherwise, the whole world is experiencing slowdown of investment because of all this uncertainty in the tariff issue, and all this geopolitical tensions.
Okay, you brought up tariffs. The downside of being upper middle income now is we won't enjoy concessional loans, tariffs as well, maybe higher because some concessions given to us will no longer be there as a lower income nation.
No, that's not quite right.
That's not right?
It will take a while for these concessional rates to be eliminated, no? Because there's a progression. First, for one, you need to sustain 3 years of in that category before.
God forbid we slip next year.
Before ODA, will no longer be.
Okay, so there
for you.
is a transition period.
There's a transition period, and there are also.
How long is this transition
well,
period?
usually 3 years. You have the 3 years, but there are also development partners like the World Bank or ADB or even countries like Japan or Korea, where certain projects are granted concessional rates. For example, projects that have high developmental impact that are of interest to both the country and the partners. They can continue to get concessional rates. But I don't.
So this is for aid. But what about exports? For instance, our exports to the EU, they're growing, and they do grant us some. We enjoy GSP, general.
The tariff concessions we get have nothing to do with the level of income.
Is that correct?
The country. Yeah.
Don't we have concessions because we are a lower income country?
The ones that we have are not based on your level of income,
but on what?
But on the concessions that we have made. That
it's part of trade negotiations.
It's part of the trade negotiations. Yes, yes.
So that's not. Also.
That's not.
Okay. However, the ratio of debt to GDP has grown under the first Duterte administration and now the Marcos administration. How do we intend to fund our growth?
Well, two things.
It's at a rather 60%.
60, yes, and a lot of that has come from in 2020 when we funded our COVID-19 measures through massive borrowing, at the same time, we would want to continue with our development, particularly in infrastructure development. It's
So
not,
you're saying the debt was more during the Duterte administration,
yes.
not under
No, not at all.
Not
The big increase,
the big increase, but we still continue
yes,
to have
but
a
I
huge
think that,
deficit.
Yes, but I think that what is important is not is that the what we are borrowing is put into productive capacity, development. For
Well,
example,
not with
infrastructure.
the-
Yeah, no,
Not with the flood control.
well, yeah, you have problems like that. So essentially, the slowdown in recent in recent quarters have to do with that problem.
That scandal,
this-
that
this
corruption,
scandal,
misappropriation of government funds.
and the kind of sentiments to business and to consumers at that. Plus, of course, you have all these geopolitical tensions, and particularly the
So
Middle
we
East
took
conflict.
a hit in the first quarter, very low 2.8
Yes,
growth
yeah,
rate
yeah.
compared to the 7 plus when in the early years of the Marcos administration. Some economists in UP, and particularly J.C. Punong Bayan, in his soon to be released book, says that growth has slowed down after the pandemic due to the pandemic and the Duterte authoritarian government.
Yes, true. The average growth rate since 2020, 2021 in particular, is a bit lower, 5.8% for that period, 21 to 25, compared to roughly 6.2% for an average of the 10 years before that, except for the pandemic year of 2020. So yes, it's slowed down a bit.
A bit?
But,
You would say
well,
only
yes,
a bit. Can we recover from that? And okay, go ahead,
Yes,
sir.
of course.
Go ahead, sir.
The big drop was in 2020 because the economy contracted by almost like 10%. That's huge, and it that practically made us lost 3 years of growth.
We regressed.
So it took a while to get there, but the bigger issue is that the pandemic and our response to it, all these long periods of lockdown had created all this scarring of the economy and of learning, which would impact on us for the long time. We'll still be carrying the impact of that in many years to come.
So the fact that we made it to the upper middle income is sort of a real milestone, despite what happened during the pandemic.
Yes, of course. We could have achieved that earlier if not for the pandemic. Yeah.
Going back to my question earlier, sir, in the recent SWS survey, more than half of Filipinos rate themselves as poor. And here we are, celebrating this milestone.
Yeah.
How do we lessen the inequality?
Again,
what are your plans?
Again, says growth is not the only thing that matters, right? Especially for poverty reduction. It is necessary. No country has ever eliminated poverty without growing on a sustained basis. But if we can make that growth even more inclusive by
How?
Creating the kind of jobs that would generate employment, high quality employment, for example. And again, I said earlier that you need to focus on investment and drawing investment into agriculture, into manufacturing, into industry, because those are the ones that generate a lot of good quality jobs. So that's one. Number two, you have to manage what we call economic fundamentals. Inflation, for example. That high perception of poverty, that social weather station.
It's because of
money.
expensive food
Because,
prices.
because of inflation.
Yes.
Whenever inflation or prices pick up, of course, especially those are food prices, that will impact on a broad section of our population. So there is a good, a strong focus of our development programs on food security.
Agriculture, we need investment in
We need
agriculture.
investment in agriculture and need a
Nasaan
kind
po
of
yung mga
quality.
yan? Nasaan?
No. Well, you know, what we have been trying to do is, you know, address this vulnerability issue in agriculture, especially with climate change.
Every administration has
climate
tried
change,
that.
Yeah, but it's, recent years.
I'm glad you mentioned climate change.
Yeah.
Okay, one problem, and really you are you're supposed to be the conductor in government. Government agencies do not work in coordination to address, you know, these issues. For instance, let's look at flood control. The DPWH goes its own way without consulting the DNR and other agencies that really, you know, parang kayo po dapat ang conductor niyan eh.
Yeah.
Meron
That's
po
why.
bang efforts toward that we
Yes.
don't duplicate or go sometimes contrary to each other?
In fact, that's the thrust now of our efforts, particularly in infrastructure development, that projects like flood control must have clear blueprints, master plans. You know, if they are talking about a watershed, for example.
It should be the watershed approach because iba-ibang probinsya yan,
So if
iba-ibang...
you put a dike there, you make sure that it's
Great.
part of the...
I'm glad. But when was this consciousness achieved?
Well, it's now there in the current planning process. That's now what we are putting for the 2027
That
budget.
is why they got away with this flood control mess.
Yes,
because
because
one agency doesn't know what the other one is doing.
Precisely. No coordination at all.
Kayo po yan. Kayo po ang konduktor ng lahat because you're the
good
planning
thing is,
agency.
That's why I needed to push for the change in our charters from NEDA to the Department of Economy and Planning, because the old NEDA had little, weak influence with respect to
Now
those
you call the shots.
Now the law, the framers of the law of DepDev put that in the law that we are the keeper and agency that coordinates the production of master plans for our infrastructure.
Recently, the academe had a conference led by the UP Los Baños sector and got all the agencies involved. So, are you aware of that, sir?
Yeah, I am aware. Yes, of course.
Okay.
All my colleagues are from there.
Okay.
I came from Los Baños.
Great.
I did my master's there.
So, sana ganun talaga yung parang in synchronicity lahat. Para hindi nasasayang ang mga bilyong piso.
No, indeed. As we keep saying, and our president keeps reminding us that it's the quality of spending that we should really pay attention to. Because, even if admittedly we have very narrow fiscal space because of the debt, because of the deficit, but it does not mean that we cannot build more and continue supporting the economy.
Okay, how will we fund this budget?
Well, as we said, we need to be choosy. We need to focus on most impactful projects, and we need to make sure that these are the ready to implement projects.
Will the next administration inherit a huge fiscal deficit from this administration?
No, that's not the plan. In fact, we are following a what we call the fiscal consolidation program, so that when we leave, the deficit will not be as as bad.
It will go down.
It will go down
in the next.
Yeah.
How?
We have two more years to work on that. the
Possible in 2 more
27,
years.
28, and then we still are able to influence the 29 because we'll still prepare the 2029 budget. So, and actually we are working on on our updated fiscal development program, a macro program from 2026 to 2030, and there and it was just approved by the president recently. There we showed how the deficit is going to decrease as a proportion of GDP. I'm not talking about the absolute
As a proportion
value.
of GDP.
As a proportion of GDP.
60% is rather high and risky.
Well, if you ask the World Bank, that's still manageable.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
because there
during
are,
the Aquino administration was only 40%.
Yes,
well, you were there.
I was there. Yeah.
How did you allow it to reach this high?
No. As I said, when we came in, it was already 60% of GDP was debt, and when we left the Aquino administration, as you said, it was almost like 39%, of GDP. But then, of course, there was the COVID, so that's partly accounted for that. But we also, I think that we could have done better in managing the COVID.
Let's go to the broader economic outlook. So we cut our GDP targets, but the executive is still proposing a 7.2 trillion peso budget. That was what I was telling you earlier. And another record high, slow economic growth. Tapos mataas ang spending. Paano po hindi po magandang combination yun, di ba?
That's not mataas na spending because that in nominal terms, we are just talking about
6%.
If I remember, about 6%,
6%
increase. No? That's in nominal. If you remove the inflation, that's actually
parang,
zero growth.
Parang running in place lang tayo.
Yeah, but again, our focus is really to improve the quality of spending so that we can achieve more.
Okay, no new taxes?
We'll be selective on what to push, for example.
Like what?
Well, single-use plastics, maybe
sugary drinks.
Sugary drinks, yes.
Single-use plastics.
Yes, those should help our environment.
Ano pa?
I would leave that to my colleague, but we have. And
but kayo ang tiga-kumpas.
Pero hindi ko pa nasabi yung because you asked me what else do we need to do to spend. One thing that this administration is focused on so much is to engage the private sector. The public-private partnership is a way to go.
What prime water is a disaster?
Well, that's one of the so many naman. I mean, if you can look at many other PPP projects that I think, for example, the airport, yes, so much improvement. I am sure you agree.
The public markets in Iloilo. That is, it may not be so big, but yun ang ramdam ng masa, sir.
The airports in Cebu, and those are all PPP. The Skyway that we now enjoy, it's
nagbunot ng puno.
Well, there are some trade-offs there, but I think that you
there
can minimize.
Be a better way.
There can be a better way. You can
make
replant.
sure they're alive.
Replant them
yes,
somewhere.
Sir.
Yeah. No, I think that, I agree.
So it's still infrastructure where you see the growth.
Not just infrastructure.
Tourism, we also lag down in tourism.
I'm looking at the
there's a drop in. So paano?
Yeah.
Tourists are not even coming.
Yeah, and I think that our president is so determined to check on that, and
I hope he can make the difference.
We really need to get that
in 2 years.
Yeah,
time is running out.
We are trying our best.
And like you said, the worry is that aid will now come at a higher cost. That's not true. You said it's not true.
Not immediately, but even then, and let me just clarify. Because if you are able, because we are, the expectation is that if we sustain our class and not just sustain, but to continue growing and growing even faster. What that means is the credibility of government of our country to deliver sustained growth is there, and what that means is for the credit rating agencies, for the investors abroad will see us as a favorable place to go, and the access to credit of our investors here, domestic investors, will be more favorable than otherwise would be the case. So I think I would rather have that, where not just government being able to borrow at a lower rate, but also the private sector, than just government enjoying a concessional rate.
Okay, but still, one of the factors that dissuade investors from coming is a high cost of power.
Yeah.
And then our vulnerability was exposed in the war in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Our reliance on only one source, practically. What's your strategy?
We need to diversify our sources of energy.
Baka makalimutan natin now that there's a ceasefire, looks like it will
I think
be
that what we realize in this Middle East conflict is that we are so extremely vulnerable to price movements, especially of oil, because we practically import and so dependent on just the Middle East. And I think the lesson here is you expand our networks of friends
the
across the world.
president is in Canada. I hope he will
so
get.
you just don't depend on the Middle East, but at the same time, develop our domestic capacity. We are now next week we will be presenting a proposal. Our Department of Energy is presenting a proposal to provide assistance to explorers of our. We need to find and assist investors in
exploring for oil,
for oil, for gas, for
natural
gas, and also develop our capacities for our reserves and so there are so many things
so
that we
for
can
the country to have reserves this time, long-term reserves,
and also at the same time making sure that the renewable energy is rolled out smoothly in a way that it will not do not raise unnecessarily the future cost of electricity, because that's what we don't.
It's actually cheaper.
Renewable energy is now cheaper. Solar is quite cheap, but it's even cheaper once, and I think it will be a game changer once you get this cheap battery that, especially.
So once it can be manufactured here too, no?
It doesn't. Better if you can get them to manufacture, but it doesn't matter if as long as that
the price goes down. Okay, Sec RC, what can you assure Filipinos who, are happy, I suppose, at this news, but are not really feeling the prosperity?
No, as I said, this is one step, a significant step at that, but. We need to continue the journey, so to speak, that progress, and that will mean that we need to keep pushing for reform, so that the growth can become more inclusive, and so that.
Sabi ng World Bank, launch pad, pero sana hindi na talagang totoo ng launch. Minsan kasi lagi tayong parang boom and bust.
Well,
I hope we get out of that.
Oh, I think so, because as I said, it took us
40 years,
39 years to get to this level, and I hope it would not take that long to reach to the next level. For
because
us to become a high-income country.
Filipinos certainly deserve more.
I think so.
We thank you for your time, Secretary
Thank you
RC.
so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was the Department of Economy, Planning and Development Secretary Arsenio Balisaca. You are watching The Big Story in One News. When we return, we bring you the latest situation from Liwasang Bonifacio in Manila, where the INC's rally is underway. Stay tuned.
Much ready, no? As a matter of fact, 19 Congress pa tayo naghahanda. And I can honestly tell the Filipino people, the House prosecutors and the private prosecutors are all ready as we start this impeachment trial this coming July 6.
This is the trial of the century. Sana itong trial of the century hindi mag-last ng isang century.
Lead prosecutor Congresswoman Jinky Luistro and private prosecutor Lorna Capunan there raring to begin the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. Proceedings open on Monday, July 6. Kapatid channels that include One News will have a full coverage of that historic trial, and do stay tuned. Aside from the impeachment, we are also closely monitoring developments from the Iglesia ni Cristo rally, now on day 3. It's now being held at Liwasang Bonifacio, and rallyists are now spilling over nearby roads. Mobile journalist Fatima Baduria has updates. Fatima, anong sitwasyon dyan ngayon?
Seth, ngayong gabi, tinapos na sa pangatlong araw ang rally ng INC dito sa Liwasang Bonifacio. Ayon yan kay INC spokesperson Edgil Zabala. No? At kanina nga ay naririnig pa natin yung tugtugan, yung kantahan sa Liwasang Bonifacio. At may mga rallyista pa na nasa area, pero nagsimula na nga silang magsiuwian dahil hanggang ngayong gabi na lang daw itong rally. At kaninang around 7 p.m., mahigit 8,000 yung crowd estimate ng Manila Police District sa lugar, no, dahil dumami talaga yung mga nagsipuntahan, although nilinaw ng MPD na estimate nga lang ito. At nang mapuno ang Liwasang Bonifacio, nagkaroon pa ng spillover yung crowd sa kalsada at maging sa katapat na Manila Hidden Garden kung saan nanatili ang iba sa mga rallyista kanina. Pero ngayon nga ay pauwi na rin sila, at bago magtapos yung programa kanina lang, no, ay pinaalalahanan ng mga speakers yung lahat ng mga rallyista na maglinis at iwanan ang lugar katulad ng estado nito bago nila puntahan, Seth.
Pakilinaw nga, Fatima, kung ano ba ang anunsyo ng liderato ng INC sa kanilang mga miyembro na tapos na daw ang 3-day rally, tama ba?
Yes, Seth, kanina lang inanunsyo ng spokesperson ng INC na tapos na yung rally, at kinumpirma din natin na kumausap tayo ng ilang mga rallyista dito kanina, at ang sabi nga nila ay pauwi na rin sila, at ngayon nga nakita natin sila nagpa-pack up na talaga, Seth, at pauwi na rin sila.
Pero meron bang day 4?
Sa ngayon, ang balita natin ay wala na. Tapos na, no? Ayon yan sa INC ngayong gabi.
Ito ba ay talagang sigurado na dahil hindi ba nasorpresa tayo 3 days ago? Ano ba ang sabi nila talaga? Wala bang pagkikilos ulit nitong weekend? Yes,
Seth, no? Ang nabanggit nila ay tapos na itong 3-day na rally nila. Although, Seth, ang nagsabi nito ay yung spokesperson ng INC. At matatandaan natin, hindi lang INC yung nag-rally dito, no? Kabilang dyan, yung ilang mga residente mula sa 1st District ng Batangas, kasama ni Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste. Kanina, ang estimate ng mga kapulisan ay nasa 200 yung mga Batangas residents na nakiisa sa rally ng INC. So, hindi pa tayo nakarinig mula sa kanila, no, kung talaga bang uuwi na rin sila kasabay ng mga INC. Pero nung mga nakaraang araw ay tinatanong natin sila kung hanggang kailan sila mag-stay dito, dahil nga rin nag-overnight sila dito, no, ng 2 gabi. At sinasabi naman nila na matatapos at uuwi rin sila kasabay ng pagtatapos ng rally ng INC.
Thank you for your report. That was mobile journalist Fatima Baduria reporting live from Liwasang Bonifacio. The Office of the Ombudsman says it will not serve any warrant against Senator Rodante Marcoleta
once a case is filed before the Sandigan Bayan. Assistant Ombudsman Nico Clavano made the clarification after Marcoleta said he was ready to submit to arrest. Clavano also maintained Marcoleta's case qualifies as plunder even though the 75 million peso funds came from private donors. Ombudsman Boying Remulla earlier said the office remains on track to sue Marcoleta, quote, this week.
Well, when we look at the case, no, they will comprise of indirect bribery on each count. Now, in law school, you will always, the theory is when there's direct or indirect bribery, when there's a series or combination of transactions like that, it will really comprise of the crime of plunder.
Meanwhile, the Office of the Ombudsman is planning to use the affidavits of 8 former alleged bagmen of Zaldico in its case buildup. Clavano described these testimonies as more categorical and consistent with regard to the alleged monies delivered to Co and to former House Speaker Martin Romualdez.
Marami kaming tinitignan. Isa lang to sa mga binubuo naming ebidensya. But just the same, we want to get this done para tapos sa tong aspect na to doon sa aming kaso.
So Bunoan and the Marines na?
Yes.
But the camp of Romualdez denied any involvement in anomalous infrastructure projects.
Representative Romualdez is being portrayed as the convenient excuse and political scapegoat despite the absence of evidence linking him to the alleged anomalous projects. At the end of the day, justice demands only one standard. Sa paghahanap ng hustisya, hindi pwedeng mauna ang akusasyon bago ang ebidensya. Sa batas, ang ebidensya ang nagtuturo kung sino ang mananagot.
This is a big story on One News. There's a new way of farming where nothing goes to waste. We tell you about it after the break. Welcome back to The Big Story. Our next guest has been practicing biodynamic farming for the past 30 years, and his consultancy services firm demonstrates that long-time advocacy. Nicolo Aberasturi uses banhaw agriculture to advise farm owners on incorporating animals into idle land and create this closed-loop system. That means crop waste feeds the livestock. Manure from that livestock is processed into compost, and that compost returns to the soil to help the next batch of crops grow. Here we feature sustainable initiatives one story at a time. Welcome to Sustainability. Joining us via Zoom is Nicolo Aberasturi, an agro-entrepreneur and sustainable agriculture and integrated waste management specialist. He also leads Banhaw Agriculture and has founded an e-commerce site, downtoearth.ph. Good evening, Nico, and welcome to The Big Story and Sustainability as well.
Good evening, Ces. Thanks for having me here. It's really an honor.
Well, tell us in simple terms what biodynamic farming means.
Well, there are many organic farming methods out there. But biodynamic, what makes it unique is we can run a closed system of farming. That means everything is produced inside the farm. So that's why we always start with whatever we study the available carbon material. So these are like grass, leaves, of the farm. And then we introduce our soil building method with proper animal integration, usually when it's ruminants, no? So it can be a small rabbit if it's only a backyard, or in bigger areas, then you can have a cow, or some have carabaos, so. So with that,
So Nico, what you're saying is farms need to have animals. You're not practicing biodynamic farming kung wala kang livestock.
yeah, it's gonna be because you have to look at how nature builds soil. No? So this is like the parang like the foundation of the technology that we have. So in nature, there's energy from the sun, and it goes to the grass. No, so this is free energy. So in any farm project, you have to also look at it from a business side. No? So there's like a farm plan that's part of it. And to be able to make it sustainable is you have to work with whatever is free that's already available. So when you have grass growing in your property, and then you start putting a ruminant, now you have fertilizer that you can make, compost, that you can use to grow crops. No?
Okay.
So, and then the cycle continues. So, yeah.
While you are focused on making farms productive using this closed loop system, what also strikes me, Nico, is how this helps global warming, that carbon is sequestered into the soil. Can you expound more?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good question, Seth. So, in biodynamic farming, we believe that the nutrients that the plant needs is already in the soil. It's just that it's not available. So to make that available, you put life in the soil. So when you put proper life into the soil, it can be done using biodynamic method composting or even just regular composting. No, you introduce all these different microbes that interact against each other. So there, some of them are prey-predator relationship, and then when they eat each other, what they produce is exudates, or this is like food. No, it's like their poo, and that's what's available to plants. So yeah,
Kumbaga,
so that.
Nico, may soil na patay. I mean, walang nutrients that's practically won't support plant life.
Yeah, well, okay. Some soils are very much depleted, especially when it's been farmed for many years, no? With the use of chemicals. So you really, when you break the soil, you apply chemical fertilizers and sprays, you degrade it to a level wherein you change the chemical composition. And by doing that, you get rid of the life that has been sustaining that soil. So now it goes through runoff, no? So when you have heavy rain, especially here in the Philippines, no, when we have heavy rain, no? I mean, compared to other countries where we borrow the technologies from, we have double, triple the amount of rain. So whatever we put, if we do not protect it, it's just gonna go to the creeks, no, and get flushed out. So yun. That's some soils are very degraded. So first we introduce life back, so it can start to regenerate itself again.
So Nicolo, this is also in a way what prevents flooding. Because if you have poor soil quality, it easily gets eroded.
Yes, that's a very good point there. A lot of the flooding that is happening right now is that the water that's supposed to go through and be stored in our water table doesn't go through anymore because the soil's already too degraded. Once there's so much moisture, it just blocks. So wala na yung healthy soil looks more like cottage cheese, no? So you have a lot of holes, you have the earthworms that keep digging on it. So this is the life that keeps that soil alive. So when you have very degraded soil, it's more like dirt, no? So you have something that will just create runoff. So it will, instead of the water being absorbed by the soil, it will just get flushed out. So that's why it's creating all these floods.
Nico, experts around the globe say that more than recycling, more than reducing our carbon emissions, it's really regenerating our soil that is the solution, the best solution to climate change. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, yeah, I very much agree, Says. The problem that we have right now is we have a lot of bio waste, no? A lot of carbon material that's available. Okay, and it's just not being handled properly. So when a lot of that, by the way, goes to our landfills, no, so it creates a lot of methane. So, for example, DNR came up with a study, and according to their study, more than 60% of the waste that is being thrown to the landfill is biodegradable. So this is like food waste,
Yeah.
cardboard, you know. So when that gets mixed up with the plastic, it creates like a crust, kind of like cement. So then it clogs. Aside from the methane that it's producing there in the landfill, when it gets washed out and it clogs our drains, it forms like a cement looking material.
It hardens. It hardens
You know,
into some
it
kind of.
hardens. Yes. So unfortunately, there's very little segregation that is going on. And if we can just find a way, I mean, we've done many projects, and there are ways already, proven and tested ways, wherein we just have a proper method of just segregating the food waste. So when you segregate the food waste, automatically you already free a lot of the other waste that can still be recycled, no? Once food waste kasi gets there, the plastic, you know, the odor comes in, and then even the sorting people that are there in the landfills, they don't want to touch that anymore. So it creates all of this pollution, which is not supposed to be the case, because every biodegradable carbon material can be composted at source. And we have, concepts that have proven this already.
Nico, I know you work with farmers, and mostly these are small projects. How can you scale what you are doing so that, more will benefit and more will be aware? Because actually what is lacking is awareness. For instance, you said 60% of what we throw away, we could have enriched our soil, our farms, our gardens. So, any ideas?
Well, okay. For many years, as we've been working with private small groups, and it's just this year, because we piled up already a very good amount of experience handling different kinds of waste, no? And we can turn any bio waste, no? Anywhere, because we can run, our system can run off grid. Now, it's just a matter of really showing people, especially the grassroots farmers, that hey, you do not have to use so much fertilizers, because a lot of the materials that you need to build the soil again is already there. They're just burning most of it, like rice straw, for example. We produce about 5-6 billion metric tons a year, and a lot of that is just being burned. Sayang, it's very sad now, but because that could have been turned to very good compost and would have reduced the cost of production of the farmers. So it's really, and farmers,
If
they
I
really
may
need to see.
interrupt you, Nicolo,
Yeah.
does that apply to rice farmers also?
Yes, exactly, Says. That's what I was saying. It's rice farmers right now are really having a very difficult time, because they are so used to producing with a lot of synthetic fertilizers. So yung training nila with composting is very limited. For
Okay.
them, organic fertilizing is like applying manures, ganyan. But the straw that they produce is a lot. That's about 15 tons per hectare.
Yung
Can you
straw na
imagine
yun
that?
na yun no? Lagyan mo lang ng
Yeah,
manure.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and they have it. They have Carabao manure, some ruminant manure. It's usually free in the countryside, no? It's just that they just don't know how to do it. And
Because parang dependent na sila, and also the soil must be so degraded after applying all these synthetic pesticides and fertilizer.
yeah, it's very degraded, says, and they also have a very difficult time. But like crisis like this, no, when you have fertilizer prices doubling, it opens up their eyes to try new things. Kasi wala nang choice, no. But in general, farmers just want to stick to what they've been doing for like a decade, and go with that. But when that, I mean, when you keep applying all these chemicals, downhill na, no? I mean, the production will just keep going down, and your cost is just gonna keep going up.
But
So,
what does the Department of Agriculture say about this? Have you ever worked with them?
yeah, well, right now we started to offer them already. I think we're ready to be able to scale this, especially in the rural areas. And some of them have contacted us because
When you say some of them, who do you mean? Is this on
yeah,
the LGU level?
yes, LGU level. Yeah,
Okay.
they've contacted us, and hopefully we can work with some of them, no? Because what we need is just really to show them, like,
Exactly.
hey, you're 15 tons per hectare, and your weeds, says, the weeds, they're just everywhere, no? I mean, you can include that when you make, no? And it will definitely improve their yield, lower their cost, because they don't have to buy anything. Our method can work without any expensive machinery. So you can have just a bolo, and that's good enough, no? And
But it will take
it's off
time.
grid, so
Nico, I
you don't
guess
need. Well,
it will take time
yeah,
because you
well,
have to
it
bring
takes a
back
while.
the health of the soil, right?
Yeah, it really needs. But from our experiences, just the first application alone, they will already feel it in their wallets. So it's just really a matter of showing them how it's done, and uh, when they see it happening actually, like actual, I think that the farmers really need to see that, no? When they see that, then for sure, a lot of them are gonna try it.
So hanggang ngayon wala pang naipapakita sa
Well,
okay, go
not
ahead.
yet, unfortunately. So we're really very much right now. We have most of our impact is happening in the urban areas, as no. I mean, we have a lot of villages that throw away a lot of leaves, and all our landfills are getting full. So it's really going to be a long-term problem. So this is where we're working, in large volumes. But we can easily do this in the rural areas with materials that they have.
In closing, Nico, can you share with us one of the projects in the urban areas that you're particularly proud of, and something that could be a model emulated by other urban centers?
Yeah, okay. So a few years back, Punta Fuego, the landfill where they used to bring their garbage trash was shut down. And because of the hauling cost of bringing it to another area, they were forced to try to find a way to compost it at source. So I'm very proud of that, because that's where we really had something that a working system that really started in the households, no? Because even the food waste we had to compost. So and then they have a lot of yard waste. So we were able to reduce the amount they have to handle from 7 dump trucks to 1.
Wow.
So and yeah, and it can be done as villages. We don't need a big space. We have concepts already that is aesthetically pretty. It doesn't look like a tambakan. If that's usually what is the big worry with homeowners.
So you can
We can,
start village by village.
yeah,
Pero
we've
dapat
done.
yung mga ano rin, urban poor areas also to show para may proof of concept.
Yeah, well, we are just waiting as with how we can sort of be involved there with our system, because this is really where we want to create a bit bigger impact, no? So yeah, then
Nico, I can go on and on if we're talking about farming and sustainability, but we've run out of time. I thank you so much for the effort also that you took to be on the show, the time and effort.
thank you, Seth.
That was
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
That was Nicolo Aberasturi of Banhao Agriculture. And those are the big stories this Thursday, July 2. I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon. Kapatid, we are One News, your side all the time. Good night.